Hello everyone, this is John from the Slender Man Wiki, aka The Cypher, one of your friendly neighborhood admins. And this here is my interview with Adam Rosner. Now, due to some technical difficulties, my recording program actually ended up cutting out our introductions, so just to clarify, Adam Rosner is the creator of the TribeTwelve series, as well as the individual that portrays the character Noah. So let's just jump into the interview right here. All right.
Nice.
Okay, well, let's go through some of these questions then. All right. So, on average, how many people do you work with in order to write and produce the TribeTwelve series?
Well, it's an interesting question because as time has gone on, different people have gone off my project, but I've always been the main producer and editor and filmer and all that. But I think there's an average of about 3 people at any one given time, mainly helping me write some crucial things and come up with ideas or inspiration for certain parts of the series, but pretty much basically the series is mostly me. I do pretty much 90% of everything save for acting and some ideas and some writing that other people help me out with. It's mainly a one-man job. But for certain things in the future, there is going to be segments in which I've gotten a lot of help from other people, writing-wise. So keep on a lookout for that.
Okay, cool. So with your series, did you take any inspiration from other things at all? Or was this like an original idea that you could just kind of started from scratch and then just built on from there?
Well, yeah, after Marble Hornets finished their first season, I decided that I wanted to do something like that, like a series like that, because I was an aspiring film guy, and I just sort of came up with the ideas in my mind one weekend, pitched to my friends, and they liked it, and we just filmed a bunch of stuff. But initially I did take inspiration from Marble Hornets, obviously, but also from like the Blair Witch Project and some creepypastas back then. I can't really remember, but They helped start, they were like the catalyst that helped me start thinking about cool things and scary things. One I do remember was, I think it was one of the classic creepypastas, was it Ted the Caver?
Okay. I don't think I've actually read that one, so what was that one about?
Ted the Caver is about, it's about a guy who's a caver, and he's blogging about his, going into this cave and stuff, and it chronicles him and his friend like digging through this cave trying to get through this one passageway, and then just weird things start happening to them, and it's all in a blog. It's not even a blog format. It's found on like a old Angel Fire type website, and it's just really creepy, and I recommend it for people who like that sort of thing.
Okay. Cool.
But yeah, I guess later on horror games like Amnesia and other survival horror-based games helped me come up with ideas and stuff like Penumbra and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've definitely got a lot of inspiration from those kind of things.
Cool. That whole thing with the time-space continuum, was that inspired by anything, or was that just kind of something that you had planned from the beginning and decided to like reveal at a certain point in time?
Not really. That was more of a thing I amended to the entire plot. Like, I started, during the production, I started, watching Doctor Who and reading Homestuck and all that time shenanigans type, stuff. And I really, I fell in love with it, and I derived a lot of ideas of just time travel stuff and a lot of that mindfucky type stuff later on.
Oh, yeah.
That I'm still implementing it right now.
Okay. Cool. So, on average, then, how much time do you usually put into making videos for the series? I know it's a time-consuming process, but do you have like a certain time frame that you try to set for yourself for making videos, or is it just kind of they're done when they're done, or like how's?
Well, I try to set dates for myself, like little ultimatums, but they never fall through because I guess how I work is the more I have limits for doing things, the more I have deadlines, the more it messes with my head. So if I just do it organically and I do it when I want to do it, it tends to come out better, but I still have a solid schedule that I work around. And overall, I think it depends on the content of the video and the time for filming and editing that I have. It can take from I'd say a weekend to completely finish a video to months at a time, which also you have to, it doesn't take into account my work schedule as well, and college, and because I have school still, and I do have a life. I just do TribeTwelve as a little hobby, but I still find time out of my day to get little parts of the series finished.
Okay, all right. Speaking of that, actually, so a lot of people really praise the visual effects in your series, and you can definitely note that the amount of like impressiveness of them definitely increases from like the beginning of the series to how things are now. I mean, I remember watching a video on YouTube that compared like a frame for frame shot from like the live stream incident with like the Halloween hotel stuff, and it matched perfectly. Like how is it that you have the time to like do this sort of thing, and like are you trying to set like this constantly raising bar for yourself? Like for season 2, are we going to see even more amazing effects coming, or like how does this work for you?
Well, I mean, I have that always like in my mind every time I put out a new video, especially with effects in it, or just like a great Slender Man appearance. I'm like, shit, how are you going to do better than this? And I mean, I guess as my skill set increases, as I teach myself new techniques, it becomes a little bit easier for me to realize ideas and bring them to fruition in scenes that I wouldn't have been able to do previously. Like, in the beginning of my series, I would have had no idea that I'd eventually be able to pull off effects like those in, like, the Mary Asher phone call video where I shoot Slender Man.
Yeah, I love that effect. That was amazing.
Yeah, it took me a good 2 weeks to get that effect looking polished and nice, along with the tentacles and the part right after. It was a lot of work. But I pulled it off. But it's mainly me teaching myself new things. I try to find some like tutorials online, which sort of help, but it's mainly me looking at the basics and experimenting with new things I can add to my repertoire of techniques, because it's getting wider and wider, and I'm thinking of more and more ideas. But it is sort of difficult to, I guess, raise the bar each time. But I mean, it's really hard to explain, but I don't think I'm starting to think less and less that it's raising the bar, but more, I don't have to raise the bar. It's not, how do I explain this? I don't consider it raising the bar. I consider it just realizing a vision that I've had of a scene. And once I realize it, it doesn't have to be better than the previous video. It just has to be good. And if I pull it off correctly, I think I've done my part. And people will say that it's raising the bar when it's really just maintaining the awesome quality that I've been giving them. Because I always love good quality. That's why another reason it takes me a lot of time to edit, because I'm more or less a perfectionist, and if something isn't to my liking, I work tediously all night on it to get it right. Because I hate having that feeling of looking back on a video and being like, damn it, if I would have worked like an hour more, I would have gotten an awesome looking effect. And that just is bullshit right now. And I hate that regret.
Oh yeah, definitely. So are you entirely self-taught with your visual effects, or did you actually take any classes or anything like that, or?
Well, the only class I had on anything, Adobe, because Adobe is my skill set is mostly Adobe products, like CS3 and up. But, I took one class in freshman year, I believe, on Photoshop CS3. And from then on out, I got a copy of CS3 for my teacher. And I taught all the programs myself from there on out. I'm Adobe certified in Premiere, Flash, Photoshop, and I think Dreamweaver. I don't use Dreamweaver anymore, but I'm mostly self-taught in that aspect.
Okay, like that is just absolutely amazing. Just like I follow your Tumblr blog a lot, just to get updates and whatnot, and I noticed that a lot of people ask you about like the whole observer's text and how you hand draw that yourself, and I just find that that's like amazing that you do all this stuff all self-taught. It's like, it's beyond my capabilities, and a lot of other people that I know, but the fact that you've done this is definitely a testament to the amount of work that you put into this series.
Yeah, I think people who can afford to make series like this, into like creatively wise, if they can just afford to dump all of their creativity into one piece of work, I think eventually, if you put out enough consecutively, you begin to develop a certain way of putting things out faster. Like in the beginning, I've always done my like observer text the same way, where I've drawn it and then drawn it by hand, individual each letter, and then put a certain effect on it to make it wiggle. And I've just found easier ways to do it to make it less tedious and faster, more economic and efficient. And I look at other creators who put out things that I consider quality very fast. I look at them a little easier now. I used to be very intimidated, but now as I'm starting to become one of those people that I looked up to, I'm starting to realize that it's not really hard to do something awesome like I do. You just have to find what you're good at and then sort of capitalize on it. Find a way to make it faster while doing it faster while also keeping the quality. And if you do that, you'll be able to just become an auteur.
Okay, cool. So of all the videos that you've done for your series, which do you have like a favorite video that you've done, or one that like stands out to you the most?
I hate when people ask me what my favorite video is, because I like a lot of mine and it's hard. I think I decided a few weeks ago that like I was a three-way tie between Halloween Hotel, the Mary Asher phone call, and the Order trilogy that I had going with Dark Harvest.
Yeah.
I guess that the live stream incident gets an honorable mention because I love the effects that I put in that. Mm-hmm. And it took me a while to get them polished and they just look fantastic. But I like Halloween Hotel because the editing I put in the teleportation sequences, I find it unrivaled. Mm-hmm. Just how smoothly I was able to make it look transition-wise. And I love what I did with that. Mary Asher phone call. My bad. With the live stream incident, I gave it an honorable mention because although I loved doing the whole Noah Firebrand looking at each other thing, that was really difficult to do, and I liked it. Yeah. The preparation that went behind getting the ball part and the teleportation sequences and other videos as callbacks, that was great. That's why I'm giving it an honorable mention. But the Mary Asher phone call, the whole, it took me so long to get those effects. For him to Slender Man after I shoot him to just flash step up to me, that took a long time to just make it look believable. Mm-hmm. And another favorite is the Order, mainly the Order video where I'm in the woods with a bunch of cult members from the Order. That was one of my favorites. Just working with 30 plus people and directing that many people and getting it to come out for just such a great shoot and a great shot, and just the way that turned out, I was always pleased with. And that was one of the videos I thought I would not be able to top. Mm-hmm. But again, each video I put out, I try to find some new way to do something to make it fresh.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, cool. So of all the videos in your series then, do you have one that you, I guess, consider your least favorite, or one that if you could go back and redo, that you would redo it?
Yeah, I have a few actually. The parent interview, the secret parent interview, I would like to do that. I would have done that totally differently. That was back when I didn't care as much, and I was like, production value. If I get my parents, it'll look real. And then I neglected the fact that my parents can't act. And, it was awful. It was so awful. The only redeeming quality of that video was the Slender Man appearance, which I don't even think it could save it. But, the Thanksgiving footage was another bit I wish I could have omitted, because, Sarah, blew me off for, a month or two just lying about wanting to film, and it was a huge delay, and I had to totally film day 2 without her and a different person and have her totally off camera. But even though it looked good, I still didn't like it. I would have had the Thanksgiving footage done in one video, and I would have had certain parts, I guess, scripted differently, without dialogue. It was a little corny. Yeah. And just, actually, anything in the submissions, anything with Milo, he was an awful person to work with after, there was a whole schism between, there's a schism between, friendships, and he just, I guess, I really don't know what happened to him, but he just, dropped out of our circle and stopped talking to us. So, he wasn't the best actor to begin with, and trying to work with him afterward was awful. And, I don't have him anymore, but I still have, shots of him that I plan to use, and I'll find clever ways to have him in the series, but it would have been great to have him for more videos.
Okay. So as a creator of a Slender series, did you ever think that TribeTwelve would grow to be as big as it has? Because among Slender series, yours is one of the most well-known. So, what does it feel like to be one of the big series that are out there?
I mean, would I know that it would have grown as big as it has? Not at all. I thought it'd be like a passing fad that never take off. Mm-hmm. I made my series not expecting any sort of fandom or following. I just did it for the fuck of it, just to have fun. Yeah. And I mean, I'm incredibly humbled by how big my fan base has gotten and just how many people know about it, and getting shout outs from people that I look up to. Oh man, it's great. It's a great feeling.
Okay, cool. So in that same sort of vein, now that you're actually one of the larger Slender series, how does it feel that the slightest thing that you could put into your series could have the biggest impact on this whole Slender Man mythos? The whole thing with the collective that took off in its own whole vein. So how does it feel knowing that you could do the slightest thing and have the biggest impact on this whole fandom and whatnot?
That thought, it actually hadn't occurred to me until recently. It's a strange thought because I often neglect to include my work and, include what I've done as part of the mythos. It's still strange. It's a strange experience for me, but it's pretty awesome knowing that people base their work off of the foundation that I helped lay, and it's pretty profound to know that I'm one of the driving forces of a fandom, and I'm honored to be one of those forefathers that people look up to me and wait for my work to come out, anxiously tap on that F5 key when I tweet. It's just it's a great feeling. I'm so happy knowing that I've had this influence.
Okay, cool. In terms of that same influence then, is there anything that you ever regret including in the series at all that you wish people didn't kind of latch onto, or do you feel pretty good about everything that you've kind of influenced?
Well, as a series, I think it's overall good, but some things that I do regret including mainly stem from the main the intro videos that I had, the submission videos. I wish I could change a lot. It follows a lot of the tropes of an average Slender Man series, because nowadays there's literally thousands of them.
Yeah, no doubt of it.
And I hate to say it, but a lot of them look like my submission videos. They're very cryptic. They don't have any direction. They live off of motifs like crumpled up piece of paper with cryptic writing on it that serves no purpose, doesn't even tie into their non-existent plot. Yeah. And they're most of the videos I've seen are hey, I'm gonna run around my forest near my house, and oh, what's that? Is it a person over there? Now I'm gonna film my feet for 20 seconds, and then that's the end of the video. Yeah. Well, just
Yeah, well, I find and I think that's one of the almost comical things about the Slender fandom now, or the Slender Man fandom now, that people could literally turn into a drinking game where you can watch a series and be okay, drink when the camera's on someone's feet for so and so, when blaring static that can kill your ears comes on, when they notice a person, it's oh, it's a guy in a suit. What's that mean? I don't know. Moving on now. And I think that's part of the funny thing about the series, that it's become so well spread that there's certain tropes in it.
Oh, definitely. They're all on TV tropes too. You can find
Oh
them.
yeah, yeah.
It's also I haven't. That was one of the things that helped me reach that like realization that I'm having an impact when I start like people. I either just stumble upon or people send me their series, and they're like, they have stuff that I've done, and it looks like they're completely copying me when actually they're just like they're doing things in homage to me. And that was just like really astounding. I never thought that anyone would do anything like that for my series. Like they're using the same chromic what is it called, threshold effect that the Observer uses on their videos, and some of them even have their main antagonist as the Observer, which makes no sense canonically, and I don't really approve of those. But I mean, it's really interesting to see people using TribeTwelve as the basis of their like inspiration. It's really humbling, and it's kind of like it's hard for me to comprehend because I've never done anything like this where people actually like follow it so dedicatedly. It's crazy, but yeah, it's still I'm still like it's still a process where I'm getting used to it, but it's a great experience.
Okay, cool. So that same thought then, like, you're right, like, in terms of, like, gamejacking and that sort of thing, because let's be honest, it happens with a lot of series that are especially new, that are just trying to jump on the bandwagon using the more popular series to try to gain attention. And I know that, like, I've noticed that a lot of ways that you deal with it is basically just by trolling. What are your thoughts on that whole, like, the whole gamejacking concept in terms of the Slender Man mythos?
Well, for the longest time, I just trolled, just because it's like you.
Well, it's the internet, that's what you do.
I know, but the internet is a very strange place because you can't tell if people are being serious or not.
True.
Sarcasm is very strange translating over the internet unless you know that someone has a tendency to be more sarcastic. You don't know how a random person what their intentions are. You don't really know.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, that's why I was incredibly surprised when people came to me and were like, hey, is TribeTwelve real? Or like, hey, TribeTwelve, I thought it was real for the longest time. Man, I'm legitimately surprised. Like, people thought what I was doing was real. And then I sort of look back and I'm like, wow, I guess I thought Marble Hornets was real for like a day. And even though I knew it was fake, I couldn't sleep for a few weeks. I guess it's that kind of deal, but...
Oh, yeah.
That was back when immersion meant something, and now I'm sort of like more open, and everyone actually is. Everyman Hybrid and all the other series are more open about their work. Immersion's kind of dead, but recently I've been more sarcastic with Noah's answers.
Yeah.
But mainly it's a very meta canon type thing, and I can't really talk about that.
Okay.
But yeah, if I try to humble them when they're like, hey, I have information for you. Here, reply, please. I humor them, and then they send me stuff, and it's fun. It's just, I don't really consider them being like stupid or anything. it's part of the ARG segment of my series. It gives them an outlet to like communicate with the actual ARG and stuff on their own little level, and it's fun for them. It gives another angle to my series that's a little interesting on a personal level.
Well, I definitely agree that like the whole ARG thing for a lot of the Slender Man series is definitely a fantastic aspect, like being able to interact with the protagonists as this like whole story unfolds and whatnot. And I love the fact that you did a bunch of live streams where stuff would actually happen during them, and it was fantastic. So speaking of the things that happen during live streams, this whole concept of the Observer has become such a popular thing in the whole Slender Man mythos, especially with the whole idea of like Dark Harvest when they created this whole proxy thing and your collective. And did you have anything that was like the inspiration for the design of like the character of the Observer, or was it just kind of like, well, this seems creepy, let's go with this sort of thing?
Well, I think actually, ironically, the live stream, or not the live stream, the Thanksgiving footage, me waiting for Sarah's response and just her blowing me off for that long a time, I needed to put videos out, and I wanted to, and I came up with these ideas. And one of them was the introduction of this, because I had this sort of like unknown proxy thing going for a little while, but I didn't really have a name or an identity for him.
Yeah.
And then those like a month or two of me just like waiting for her to respond to me, I had a bunch of ideas for him. And just when I created the Observer, I think I might have subconsciously envisioned that character from Sin City with the glasses. What was his name? Kevin.
Yeah,
his name is also Kevin, with the similar complexion and the white glasses with the super contrast.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that I had done that until later, when somebody like said, "Hey, are you doing this because of Sin City?" And I guess I just consider it an homage to the creepiness of his character in the movie. But yeah, his name is Observer. I guess it's pretty obvious now that the Observer is actually Kevin.
Yeah.
But not, in a way.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
But yeah, the main inspiration, I guess, was Kevin from Sin City. Okay. But his personality is a bit more dynamic, and I can't really pinpoint a sort of similar type of deal. It's mainly like rooted in the unknown.
Okay. So with the rest of the members of the collective, are we going to find out more about them in season 2, or are you still gonna or are you gonna be keeping certain things of them like secret till like the very end, and then just not sort of like kind of leave it open ended?
Well, 1 second. Oh, my computer's being a little laggy.
Yeah, no worries.
Let's see where it is. Okay. Oh wait, what was the question again?
Oh, like with the other members of the collective, are we going to find out more about their histories and like their identities in season 2, or are you planning on leaving like certain details about them out entirely, like just kind of like for speculation?
I think by the end of the series, people will have a good idea of the collective, like what the members' purposes are and who they actually are, and many details will be unearthed, and there will be a few things, of course, that are not answered, but I think people can draw their own conclusions fairly well with what I give them.
Yes. Okay, cool. Actually, also in that vein, how do you feel like when you're with your series, when there's certain people that come up with the theories and that they turn out to be like actually the right things? Like, does that deter you from wanting to go through with it at all, or like have you ever had to alter things?
Well, not really. Sometimes I even go on the forums and I see people have come up with like really good ideas, and I somehow incorporate some of them in my series. That's happened seldom, but when someone has a great idea, why would I pass that up?
Okay, cool.
But yeah, when I see people that have actually accurately guessed what I'm gonna do, I give them a pat on the back in spirit, and they'll have the knowledge that they thought it up.
Okay, cool. All right. So with that idea, then, okay, let's move on more to like talking about the mythos itself, then. So I've read some of your opinions on this whole Slender versus Slender Man debate. So if you were to sum it up, give me your thoughts on that whole thing.
Well, I would have preferred it not happened. That's what I'd say. I mean, well, while introducing that massive influx of new fans of Slender Man, a significant amount of them don't really care about our series, and they really just care about the game. And they don't do research deeper and find the mythos that started it all. But the ones who do end up researching and finding their way to us and becoming like dedicated to following our work, those are the fans that I appreciate. Those are the real fans in my eyes. But in the end, I'm a little more apathetic towards it now. Now that I know that like who the loyal fans are, they're the ones that really they're the real treasure when you create a series.
Yeah.
Something like something hitting our then slowly growing humble fandom the size of Slender, I think it was bound to happen sometime. So I'm not too upset about it. I'm just I just wish that period of the masses not knowing what Slender Man was lasted a bit longer, because it was kind of a magical time. It was full of curiosity, and immersion was still a big thing, and there was still a legitimate fear of Slender Man. Now, he's kind of been turned into a joke, more or less, and people have been capitalizing on his image, and
Okay. Actually, speaking of that, like, I recall that you made a Tumblr post about, like, the waves of Slender Man. When they actually revealed that they were gonna make a Marble Hornets movie, how did that make you feel? Did you start laughing because you're all like, wow, I actually kind of predicted this down to, like, the time frame?
Kinda. I mean, I laughed that it was actually gonna, it had been in the works for a while, but, I don't know how I feel about it other than that. I kinda wanna treasure the time that we have now before the movie comes out. So I'm sort of, just relishing in that right now, and after the movie comes out, who knows what'll happen, but I know right now that I'm living in the good times, and if better times happen after the movie, then so be it, but right now I'm just cherishing what I have.
Okay, cool. So I know that you've done a couple crossovers with other series, especially like Everyman, Hybrid, Dark Harvest. Do you have any plans on doing other crossovers with any other series in the works, or? Or does it mostly
possibly
come up through, like, necessity sort of thing?
Sort of. It's it's almost spontaneous, but if it fits in with my plot, I'd love to have it. But most of my plot has already been set in stone, and crossovers don't really make sense. The ones that I haven't thought of for my series. Okay. So, like, people come to me all the time, hey, can I cross over with your series? And they really have nothing to contribute to my series. If I want to cross over with somebody, I want their series to intertwine with my series. I don't really want it to just be a cameo. Yeah. Because I think cameos are a little low taste, especially when it comes to immersion. Yeah. Because there's still a bit of immersion in the series canon itself, and if all these series get intertwined, it's a little too much for me. But I guess that when people know about them and they refer them enough, it's nice to have a little bit of, like, fan service. Yeah. That's what I gave them with Everyman Hybrid and Dark Harvest. Not just because I ran into them, but because people referred me to them. So, as Noah would do, he went. And things happened. But, yeah, they were important. They didn't just happen for no reason, just for the haha crossover, just for the sake of crossing over. We have reasons, like for instance, in Everyman Hybrid's crossover with me, they let me know a little bit more about Corenthal. Yeah. And which will come a little bit later, and Dark Harvest let me know about Hengevize and the Order, which will also come about a little bit later, but they all tie in with the TribeTwelve canon and are not just there for the sake of crossing over. So that's whenever I try to do a crossover, I like to have it have meaning. That's what I'm saying. Okay. So with that in mind, then, should your fans and the fandom expect more crossovers, like future crossovers with the ones that you already had, like with Everyman Hybrid and with Dark Harvest? Like, will they be visiting again at any point, or like certain things from their series be coming back into yours? Well, there's a possibility, but there's no guarantees. Because there's nothing. I don't want to say too much. Yeah, no worries. Okay, cool. So that same sort of thought, like, do you and the other, like, Slender Series guys know each other very well? Like, are you friends outside? Totally. I'm friends with the Everyman Hybrid guys and the Dark Harvest guys, and I try to go up north to visit them and hang with them at least, like, once or twice a year, because, like, right now they're pretty much my second family. I love those guys. I'm so happy that I met them. Okay, cool. Especially, like, when you have a fandom like this, it's like, you need to have other people to talk about it with, especially with this new, like, popularity with Slender Man. Yep. It's nice to have other people to just coordinate with. Okay. Well, since we're actually, like, I feel like we're in that age where, like, there's a lot of crossovers happening within the Slender Man mythos, like, this series connects to this one and whatnot. How do you feel about, like, a series like Marble Hornets, like the first one to come out? Like, they've stayed, like, on their own. Like, no one is getting into this series, sort of,
mentality. Like, do you praise them for that, or do you feel that they're missing out because they kind of stay isolated from the rest of the mythos in that sort of?
Not really. Ultimately, it's their project, and they can do whatever they want with it. It would be nice if they gave like little shout-outs here and there, but I kind of doubt that a full-blown crossover would ever successfully occur within Marble Hornets. It just wouldn't work. There's no real reason for that to happen. It's in a closed series. There's nothing really that goes beyond into other series. It would be weird in my opinion, but
Okay, yeah, all right.
I'd prefer it if they just they stuck to just themselves. I think it's a better overall.
Okay, cool. All right, do you have any like tips or suggestions that you would like to share with aspiring Slenderman vloggers and bloggers at all?
Basically, do what you're doing because you want to have fun with it. Not for fame, not for money, not for a bunch of fans, not for any other reason other than having fun with seeing what you can do. If you're doing it for any other reason, then you're just doing it wrong, in my eyes. Mm-hmm. Personally, I discourage making a Slender Man series because I think it's sort of outstayed its welcome now. It's kind of, since it's gone mainstream, the joy of finding unique series has long passed. So, sorry to say, but it's reality. Your little Slender Man series is not going to become viral. It's just not. Not now. Maybe a few years ago you had a chance, but now, yeah, it's not gonna work. But however, if you still want to do something with Slender Man, try to be original as possible, and look what's been done already, do something else, or improve upon something that's been done, bring something fresh to the table, something new, be dedicated enough not to put out a shit product just to save time. Don't sacrifice quality for quantity, don't let criticism get you down. That's pretty much all the advice I can give.
Okay, cool. In that same vein then, like the whole vlogs versus blogs thing, do you read a lot of the Slender blogs at all, or do you mostly just...
I used to read a few Slender blogs, now I've sort of stopped. Mainly because I don't have time, and I don't really know when they update. But, I've said previously that I'm going to eventually put out a blog type thing for TribeTwelve, but it's for a totally different, it's more of another thing to not follow per se, because all you gotta follow is my Twitter. I'll always post links. But, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be a neat thing to follow, and I really hope that people read what I put out, because I put a lot of work into it, and I think it'll show. So, I'd really appreciate if people would, start going back to blogs, because blogs still retain their charm of creepiness, I think. Mm-hmm. Although there's a lot of them now, and it's really hard to stand out. But if you want to, have fun with it.
Okay, cool.
I mean, like, another thing I was gonna say with that, I remember what I was gonna say back, with the mainstream question with Slender Man, if he was, like, losing some of his, appeal or not. With the new popularity, there comes, like, the other people, like, I guess PewDiePie and, Shane Dawson and all those people who made parodies. They're just people that capitalize on passing trends for the laughs and the fame, for their subscribers to like, oh, it's so funny, I love you. Like, when Slender Man became more defined as a character by parodies and misrepresentations, he really lost his appeal as a horror icon, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. In general. But in context with any one of our series in the mythos, he's still scarier than ever. Outside of that, outside of the Slenderverse, outside of the mythos, he's really a shell of his former scare factor. And that's why I'm kind of discouraging other people from doing Slender Man series, because no one's really going to take you seriously anymore like they used to before it got popular.
I definitely agree. Like, as one of the like Slender Man Wiki admins, I definitely get a lot of stuff that's based on that sort of like humor parody thing, like the whole thing about like giving him $20 or all this other ridiculous sort of stuff. Do you feel that like this sort of humor aspect is just like, did you ever think that it was ever just kind of developed as a means of coping because some people actually got so scared from the Slender Man that they just needed like a safety blanket at all?
I guess. Actually, one of my theories about why this $20 meme is so popular is not only because it doesn't really make any sense or because it's catchy or whatever, it's because it gives him a motive. It does give people sort of peace of mind that, oh shit, he wants money. That's funny to me. Haha. Gives him a motive. It helps people like not be scared.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like, because I guess like the whole thing that was so scary about Slender Man was that he didn't really have a motive. I mean, when Victor Surge posted him in the Something Awful forums like way back in the day, it was all like, so this guy showed up, bunch of kids went missing. Don't know why. It just kind of happened.
Yeah, it's sort of like that paranormal thread was like it turned out to be good. It wasn't just because of Slender Man, it's because people were contributing things that are like the basis is unknown. Slender Man is like the epitome of that. Origin unknown, motive unknown, physiology, morphology sort of unknown. That's why he's creepy. His main scare factor is being unknown. Which is why I think the Slender Man movie, when it comes out, the official one, the Marble Horns one, it will officially cement Slender Man in the category of, not scary anymore. Mm-hmm. I think his horror appeal is going to be completely gone at that point. I guess for people like me, who've been here for a long time, and fans who have been around for a long time, it's not going to be as scary to them. I guess for new people, it's still going to be scary. Yeah. And I hope they do some backtracking and see the history of that character and find us. But, oh well. I'll move on to something different.
Fair enough.
I'm not going to be like defined just by this. I'm going to be doing more stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely. So in that same sort of vein, like this whole Slender Man thing definitely spawned like an entire other universe, like with the whole fear mythos thing. Like, yes. What are your thoughts on that? Like, do you read any? Like, are you up to date on any of that? Like, do you follow that sort of thing, or?
I don't really read the fear mythos stuff, but I have read a bunch of summaries of like the ideas they presented, and a lot of them are very interesting, and I like a bunch of them, and a lot of them are very silly, which is although blogs still can retain their scariness, I guess a little bit more than vlogs nowadays, they do have a disadvantage when it comes to crossing over, because vlogs generally, when people do crossover in vlogs, especially with me and the other big time guys, it's a lot of planning, and we go meticulously through our little plot points so nothing intersects and fucks the canon up, and everything just sort of works out. When it comes to blogs, I've noticed that the crossovers are very just either haphazard or not planned or just not thought out right, and it leads to like retconning and conflicting plot lines that just don't make sense, and there's a lot bigger margin for error when it comes to that. Mm-hmm. And some things are just not as believable unless you have visual proof, which is why there's a different kind of person that likes vlogs over blogs. Mm-hmm. But I mean, all in all, I still think that blogs can be done well, and they should still be done, because I like reading some of them. I still read some blogs. I don't want to name who, but I still do.
Okay, cool. Well, actually, now that you said that, I have to ask, are there any, like, other series in particular that you actually really enjoy or that you'd recommend for others to watch, either to get, like, more information about the mythos or just because they're really well done? I
mean, I really don't want to name specifics, like, because there's so many nowadays, so many series. If I leave one out, I'll be chastised, because I know everybody. But if you want to find out more, just, like, do a Google search and find forums that discuss Slender Man series, because there's always a bunch of them. Nowadays, there's a bunch of like forums that discuss these different series, and like Unfiction or Slender Nation. I think if it's still up, I haven't checked in a while.
Yeah, it's still up.
Okay. There's a bunch of different sites that go over these things. I don't want to name names, but you can find out for yourself.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Well, I guess the only thing else that I have to ask you is, are there any final thoughts that you'd like to share with us about the Slender Man mythos or about TribeTwelve or anything like that?
Well, I don't want to be cynical, but I hope that the verse doesn't die after we finish our series, after the big series end. Like, I used to think that Marble Hornets would be the start-all, end-all of the mythos, but then Slender came out, and we have a lot more fans now. There's maybe not as much fans as people know about Slender Man now, so he has a lot more fuel to stay alive in people's minds for longer. So I just hope that once, like, Dark Harvest and my series and everyone else starts ending, that people can still find something to throw on the fire for fodder, that we're not just the only things that keep the mythos alive. And I just, I mean, I'm still going to be putting out stuff. I'm going to be putting out a DVD once I'm finished, probably part 1, part 2, because I have a lot of content coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah, now that I'm done with this year of college in a few days, I'm going to be finishing my junior year. And this summer, I'm going to continue I'm going to resume production on TribeTwelve, because I've been on a hiatus since the live stream incident, because I've had a lot of college things happening, and now I'm going to have more time to work on the series. So yeah, stay tuned. More stuff coming from all of us, by the way, not just TribeTwelve, but Everman Hybrid and all the others. MLA, there's a bunch of new stuff coming. So now that we're all out of school and summer has begun, we're going to stay tuned. Keep F5ing on YouTube.
All right, great. Well, that's everything that I had to ask you then. It's been a pleasure talking to you, having this interview.
Me too. I've had a lot of fun talking to you too.
All right, great. Well, I'll be uploading it onto a channel on YouTube, so I'll post you a link and you can put it onto your blog if you'd like to share it with the others once it's all up and running.
Okay.
All right, okay, thanks once again.
All right, no problem. Thanks.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.